All right. Good evening, guys. Kamusta tayo dyan? And welcome to our episode 5, season 2. Um, aptly titled by Sir Jeff, the Ole Limbo. All right. Okay. We've had, what, three days to process
3 days. Yeah.
3 days. Saturday game. It seems to be slower, faster because of the loss. 3 days to 3 days to process the loss. It was definitely a hard one to stomach, and I don't know about you guys. Whenever may talo, parang I shy away from social media. I try and shy away from the YouTube reviews. Parang umuulit-ulit lang yung talo. But maybe we can get quick hits from you guys. But before that, Kent, Carl, and Jeff with me. First time as main host. Thank you, Sir Jeff, for the trust.
Sige lang.
Sige.
Chill muna ako dito.
Dahil masyado ka na ata nag-chill, ibibigay ko sa iyo yung first question, Sir Jeff.
Anyway.
Sir Jeff,
Anyway.
how are you feeling right now? No, 2 days to process all the articles out. Maybe you've watched a lot of YouTube and seen our group on how we've reacted. How's the main feeling for you?
Ano ako manhid. Manhid in a sense that teka, sige, practice ko mo. Yan, practice mo ba? Yan. So parang, in a way, manhid in a sense that parang, in a way, I don't want to invest myself too much in whether Oli stays or Oli goes. Parang whatever happens. Diba? As you see, that's why I titled it that way. Parang one way or another, parang hindi mo lang sa pupulutin si Ole, di ba? Whether you bench Pogba, Ronaldo, ganyan, or you play your best players, parang wala siyang panalo, in a way. So I guess it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either. Kumbaga, it's talagang matagal natin pinag-usapan na parang kulang siya sa tactics. And it shows naman. It shows, and I guess most of the panelists from the past episodes are in agreement. So, is it time to go? I'm not sure. But I don't want him to go just for the sake of going or getting fired or whatnot. Kumbaga, kahit paano, when Mourinho left, he came in, there was a plan to just really pep up the squad. That was their main objective at that time, diba? Parang just to bring back that old United glory. United spirit at the very least. Na parang it's fun to watch United again. And he did that. So now, if he does go, I hope it's something to that effect. Na parang there's a clear short, mid, and long-term objective as to who will replace him. But do I expect him to be replaced pretty soon? Not really, unless the next 3 weeks will be the worst time to be a United fan since LVG Mourinho days, So, yun, medyo manhid. I don't want to invest myself too much in either end because di naman to politika na parang kailangan mong lumaban para sa isang side. So parang, okay, whatever happens. For me, United's United. And whatever happens, I'll support the club no matter what. So, sana lang hindi mahirap sa mental health natin. so ganon. That's my take on it.
Gotcha. And for sure, I guess that's also the pressure of being athletes now. Parang a lot of hopes are pinned their way. I really liked how what you said a while ago. Na parang sometimes maybe Ole has been given a good problem because he has a lot of ano tawag mo dito? A lot of good players but kind of backed into a corner, no? Because he can't win, right? There's one on one hand. Do you play everyone, but there's no space? So do you get the stars and the ano ba the stars and the prestige, right? Or how about the talagang his system? I think Kent and I were discussing this a while ago. So maybe Kent, I wanted to get your thoughts, no? What Kent and I were discussing is sabi namin nung Everton, right? He tried to play his system, the pressing, right? The high energy, the counter attack, which worked well at least for a half, right? But now he went back to okay, dahil pangit yung PR with dropping Ronaldo back to the stars, no? So, how do you view it, Kent? No, how can Ole win? Is there no win in this kind of scenario?
First of all, good evening to our fellow United supporters. It's been good to be back after a long absence.
Yes, welcome
Um,
back.
ang masasabi ko lang, hindi pa tapos talaga yung honeymoon period ni Oli this season, especially with the players he brought in, especially one with the magnitude of Cristiano Ronaldo. Sa tingin ko talaga, hinahanap pa niya yung optimal na tactics to suit Ronaldo and to bring the best out of his team. Siguro for me nagkakaroon lang ng kaunting question sa identity ng team pati nung game plan ni Oli now that you have Ronaldo in it. Kumbaga the last 2 seasons it takes time for the young team to settle, pero nakikita mo yung identity nila, masipag maglaro up and down the field. Yun nga, as what you've mentioned, playing the pressing game. Pero when you have a generational player like Ronaldo, mag-iiba yung dynamic ng team in one way or another. Hinahanap pa niya yung timpla with syempre yun nga, Ronaldo already di na siya ganun ka physically optimal. So kailangan maging maka-formulate ng game plan or strategy na matitake advantage yung time na nasa field siya. But at the same time, he's surrounded with young players, young hungry players and workhorses. So medyo nagkakaroon ng parang culture shock ganun. I think it's all about yung sa mindset din ng players. Ewan ko na kung iba parang starstruck sila. Ano ba, do you want to play alongside Ronaldo, or do you want to forge your own influence sa team? Kasi parang ang main na napansin ko, sa akin lang naman upon watching matches since Ronaldo came home, parang yung iba parang finifeed kay Ronaldo na parang kasi siya ang focal point. Parang nagiging a little bit predictable tayo. Parang na-devoid tayo ng creativity. Maski si Bruno minsan parang he's just looking to feed Ronaldo. Then yung iba nag-aalangan tumira or parang nawala yung natin sa final third. And yun ang hindi dapat mawala kasi Ole loves risk takers in his game plan. Kumbaga, gusto niya yung mga players medyo mapupusok, mahilig sumugal to be able to create chances. And parang doon sa ginagawa natin na parang kinikater natin si Ronaldo, there's nothing bad with that. Pero parang yung nawala yung identity ng team, doon nagkakaroon ng dilemma with what's happening right now. So, ang masama lang din doon, we've had an upgraded lineup this season and the fans are expecting us to deliver, and this is not a good look. So I hope Oli better sort it out. I agree with Boss Jeff na parang I don't want to dwell on it too much. Whatever happens. Baga kaya sira-sira type of ano yan of mindset for ano. Kung ma-resolve niya, edi good. Kung hindi, well, we have to endure it and maybe next season find a better replacement. Pero for now, whatever happens, I'll just keep supporting the club and hopefully ma-sort out niya. Always back the manager hanggat nandyan pa siya. Yun ang ano.
Comment lang ako doon sa sinabi ni Kent na parang Oli loves risk takers, but siya mismo hindi risk taker. Anyway, that's
Siguro more on
Harsh
individual
truth.
brilliance, ganon. Baga,
parang yun dun lumalabas yung parang wala siyang tactics kasi nga umasa sa galing ng player niya. And he doesn't. Anyway, I'll let Carl talk first. Sige. O Gabby, what's your next for Carl? Sir, nakamute ka. At may newcomer tayo.
Yun.
Yes,
Yung
alright.
Julio.
Ayan. Happy birthday to your mom, Julio. Happy birthday, tita.
Thank you,
Carl,
thank you.
what I took away, especially from what Kent said, it's like Ole is still adjusting to his new lineup. Well, technically, if you think about it, right? Ronaldo came in, 2 weeks, 3 weeks into the season? It was our third game already, if I'm not mistaken. Wolves, right? It was our third game, right? So technically, he didn't have preseason, right? In the NBA, sorry if I can just quote another sport, usually big thing yan. But maybe in football, because the transfers, alam mo yun, creep into the season, hindi masyadong pinag-uusapan, right? So, I mean, do you accept? Because I know for sure expectations are high. And how long do you think can we be patient for Ole?
Yeah, I think with what he's done, he has at least the end of the season. Lalo na dun sa ginawa niya, he raised the expectations year by year, di ba? From caretaker manager in his first 2 full seasons. So I think he deserved until the end of the season if he could show that he could handle the big signings. Kasi we had Varane, we had Sancho, then we had Ronaldo. So how could he handle that? I think he brought this upon himself kasi improve from 6th to 3rd to 2nd. So I think the expectations came along with it kasi pinataas niya rin eh. Lagi tayong nasa semis. We had our first final under him sa Europa League. So I think he deserved until end of the season. At least then we evaluate if he could handle. Kasi kung hindi, we're wasting Ronaldo's last years sa top level. And I think Ronaldo deserves a better manager who could, deliver the trophies and give him at least a graceful exit kasi alam naman natin maybe until 38, mga top level I think we're lucky that he still is at 36. So end of the season, hopefully he could at least top 4, minimum, bare minimum yun. And maybe out of the group stage of the Champions League. Maybe quarter, semis. If wala, medyo mapapaisip na rin yung Glazers nun eh.
Gotcha. Okay. Parang wala si Jeff. Okay, sige. Okay, Carl. I like yung parang sinasabi yung in-outline mo yung expectation and also yung pataas ng pataas, no? Na performance, right? Julio, I want to get your thoughts. Well, of course, maybe before everything else, quick hits na overall, what's your feeling with regards to yung result natin sa Everton and how we played. Then second, I mean, to the panel, right? What should be our expectations, knowing, how short Ole had with bringing in Ronaldo, but also the star-studded lineup that he has now.
Parang gusto ko mag-backtrack sa mga sinabi ko nung pa lang, match day 1 pa lang, which unfortunately I can no longer remember. Pero one thing I can say personally, personal point of view, is to keep my expectations at a low level pa rin. Kasi expected kasi na for the past years kasi on how the club as a whole is being handled, the expectations should still be set low naman din from a personal point of view. But again, that's not definitely going to happen for the rest of the fan base. Kasi malaking club ang Manchester United. So there's always this expectation kasi to challenge for cups and titles kasi year in and year out. So that's definitely the same thing pa rin ngayon going through the going through the mid-year or mid-season na kumbaga. So ganun pa rin ako personally. Kaya lang as things stand kasi parang nagki-creepin kasi ulit yung kumbaga yung disappointing feeling ulit kumbaga given the run of games na we're currently looking at yung 7 games na in the past including yung recent fixture yung pagkatalo sa Leicester City. We were looking at 2 wins, 1 draw, 4 losses. If my math's right. So, di talaga may iwasan na maging disappointed din tayo, kumbaga. But the expectations are still low for all his benefit. The thing about it nga lang is, with the kind of roster that he has, even without the midfielder that they say that he's really craving, kumbaga, to help the team improve further. Even with the roster he has, there has to be a way on how to work around with these things. With a better manager, unfortunately, there may be some way on how to go around with it. Kaya lang, na-mention na din kasi natin before na in all aspects naman din kasi when it comes to tactics kasi whether 7 aside, whether 8-5 aside or 11 aside, importante talaga ang midfield. It's a very important position kasi in which na talaga dapat nasi-strengthen siya na maayos. And unfortunately, nung mga nakaraan transfers, it has not been addressed well, kumbaga. I guess, nandun naman din yung willingness naman kasi to get it eh. Kaya lang siguro baka hindi nagtugma yung si Ole and yung mga higher-ups sa kanya, including of course yung sino ba yung director of football natin, si John Murtaugh. Nandun of course yung technical director naman si Derek Fletcher. Baka meron nagkaroon ng sort of miscommunication sa kanila on ano ba talaga yung priorities kumbaga eh. Ang pinakamalaking dago kasi doon was I guess supposedly dapat naging advantage for Manchester United was getting Cristiano Ronaldo back home. Kaya lang yun nga eh, I guess that somehow parang na-disrupt kumbaga kung ano yung plano ni Oli sana kumbaga as a whole eh, as a team eh. That's something na I'm sure napansin naman din in the first 3 games eh, kung paano sila naglalaro kumbaga dapat eh. But yun nga eh, as things stand nga, Oli really has to come up with the ways and the means kumbaga on coming up with solutions and fast. Kasi we were looking at the next few fixtures parang almost every 3 days may game no. So yeah, he really has to come up with plans B, C, and onward. Kumbaga. Kasi as things stand, wala talaga siya nun. He's still relying on individual performances from up top. He's still relying on a solid defensive base pa rin, relying on players pa rin na regardless of how available they are. With one prime example, nung nakapaglaro si Alex Telles against Villarreal, many were expecting and hoping na he would start, but instead, Ole brought back a half-fit Luke Shaw. And it's pretty much the same thing na ginawa niya with Harry Maguire, which cost United the points. 3 errors in 1 game. Talagang, as you could tell, the writings were already on the wall, even if he was able to bring on Rashford and score that equalizer. So, as things stand, the expectations should still be, for me, pero hindi ko masisisi din yung ibang mga fans na to have these high expectations pa rin and Oli he really has to respond eh. Otherwise, TikTok.
All right. Oh man. Thanks for that. Before anything else, I wanted to si Jeff Jr. Joins our stream, no. Before anything else, I just wanted to to say hi to our loyal watchers, Jeff, saying what's up guys. Si Ryan, okay. Hi Ryan. Na-disrupt yung flow nung pumasok si Ronaldo. And I think that's perfectly captured when what Carl and Julio said. Julio, I think, has his fan here. So Chino saying, Idol Master Julio. Basta yan. Right?
Hello, Chino.
Yes.
AMDG.
Yeah. Okay. And Jeff, actually, I wanted to segue with this comment by Jeff. And actually, yung last point that you had, Julio. So he said nga, before we talk about hashtag Oli out, baka mas madali yung hashtag change the cap, which if I assume correctly, that's change the captain. No? Yun nga, but I mean, Harry Maguire had his worst game on a United shirt, I'd say, right? He was very much swiftly brought back to the field even during one training. Should he have played? I mean, it usually kasi points to Ole's favoritism, right? But on one hand, right, sinasabi nila, Ole has favorites, kaya palaging McFred, Luke Shaw, when he was still injured in Villarreal. But on the other hand, right, you can't fail to see that having two center backs na bago, Lindelof and Bailly, in just one game, right, might be too risky. Right? What do you think of that, Carl? Was it a risk that he shouldn't have taken? Right? I mean, hindsight is 2020, right? But what do you think?
I think he really put them under the bus. He threw them under the bus, lalo na si Maguire. Kasi I think nagtatalo kami ni Jeffrey noon na parang he doesn't trust Bailly to play. But at least, I think with Bailly, at least he is at least fit. But Maguire is out of sorts. Yun palang first goal. I was really annoyed. That wasn't a captain move. He should have tackled it at least. Parang ang lampa-lampa. He's 6'4" for Christ's sake. Come on. So, you're the captain of one of the biggest clubs in the world. Then, ganun lang. Parang, I don't really know what's in Ole's mind. Parang, ang sakit din kay Bayi noon na consider he's fit. Mas pinili pa rin si Maguire na half fit. He didn't even take him off at halftime, which is pinag-uusapan din namin nila Jeff dun sa chat. It boggles the mind. Ano bang meron kay Maguire? He cost 85 mil. So what? Wala ba siyang balls to take him out? I mean, he substituted Ronaldo in the game against Young Boys. Why couldn't he do that against Maguire? Come on. I'm expecting better. I'm very disappointed.
Lalabas yung emotions ni Sir Carl, no? Very much really deep. But Kev, I wanted to check, no? How do you think, like, it kasi parang feels sometimes na it's a bigger kind of story, eh? Well, media always paints it that way. But does Ole have his favorites? Right? I mean, and when he sticks to them, is it because he trusts less, or on the people, who like the Bayis of the Teyes or the Donis, or he trusts more these people? And what does it say about how we move forward then?
Siguro, it's more about, si Oli, he has emphasis dun sa mga parang sa first 2 seasons niya sa United, yung taking over from 2019, then yung 2020-2021 season na parang na-stuck sa ganun yung team selection niya eh. Parang yung mga dinagdag, well, aside from Varane and Ronaldo, parang yun yung mas pinagkakatiwalaan niya. Siguro masasabi natin na na it's really more of, sabihin natin may favoritism, di mawawala yun, to be honest. As you can try your best to be objective, pero sa management kasi may kasamang psychology factor yan eh. Baga, who do you trust more? Ibig sabihin na magaling ka, pagkakatiwalaan ka na kaagad. Iba yun eh. Iba yung yung ganung aspeto ng football management. And with Oli kasi, dun bumabalik sa point ni Jeff kanina na he doesn't really have a clear set of tactics. Na tipong reliant siya sa individual brilliance tsaka yung work rate ng mga players na parang yun yung mas pinipili niya. Kumbaga he selects not the best players but the players that will fit his style, na yung style niya parang di ko rin alam. Clueless din ako. Ganun. Parang minsan di mo alam kung anong klaseng football yung nilalaro nila. Sobrang slow, sobrang lethargic at times. Minsan pag free-flowing, this looks good, pero most of the time parang does he have a clue or something? Ganun. Parang parang Southgate light, pero well, at least Southgate haven't won anything also. So, it's really more of babalik yan sa tactical malleability ni Oli. Na parang you have this collection, this team, and you have many players who can offer you different kinds of technical abilities, physical ability, football IQ, and bilang manager that has high expectations, and you're in a top club, you're expected to adjust accordingly doon sa mga players. Siguro it says about dapat ito ang target ko. Kumbaga baka ano yan, tawag doon, message sa Glazers na ito nilalaro ko. Ang pangit ng ginagawa ng McFred ngayon. Give me a better midfield duo or a better CDM or else ganito. You have to settle for this. Pero kailangan mo rin gumawa ng paraan kasi hindi naman there's still a bit of deadwood in the lineup, pero looking at the lineup, even in the substitutes bench, marami kang pwedeng gawin eh. Marami kang ideas, marami kang pwedeng i-implement na ideas sa style of play. Marami kang pwedeng gawing variations doon. Pag nag-uusap nga tayo sa GC, grabe yung parang scenarios na naiisip ng mga fellow supporters natin. At sila parang ang galing nila makita kung saan pwedeng na ganito. Ba't nga ba hindi pwedeng ilaro si ganito? Pero dapat ilaro siya sa ganitong role. Dapat ganito ang setup. Dapat dito siya ilaro. Dapat kapag ito ang kalaban, siya ang ilaro. Ganyan. Si Ole parang ganun eh. Sobrang static. He relies on risk, but he needs to take risks also. Kasi sayang yung sweldo ng mga players. And ang mangyayari lang diyan, you will overwork the players. Yun yung nangyari din kay Harry Maguire, di ba? Parang fixture congestion, then babad lagi, then na-injure, and then he had a super stinker of a game. Baga, yun yung iniiwasan natin eh. Kung pagkakatiwalaan mo lang lahat ng players, lahat naman nagkakamali dyan. Pero if you give them trust, you got do your best, ganon. That aspect of management. Sa tingin ko, we will do better. Ganon. It's not really about I think we deserve better players, pero Ole needs to stop being static and he should learn how to utilize more yung squad na nasa kanya. Because he can squeeze more out of that squad. Hindi lang niya ginagawa. Hindi ko alam kung clueless siya o sinasadya niya. But he needs to take a look at his squad one by one and really think clearly about what needs to be done. Kasi sayang na sayang.
Right. Very clear, Kent. Actually, I remember his comment before the international break na parang basically yung phrase niya na we'll take a look at what doesn't work, no, and see how we can do right. Then we get to this game, still doesn't work right. We hear his comment na okay, tingnan natin. I mean, we took a look at it during the break, pero parang hindi pa rin gumagana. So I like the point that you made on him not dropping people because of his trust, but also because on a bigger bigger pictures, because he plays via the players than a system, not like sina Pep, no, the system. And anytime a player is out, who sino papasok. I think Thomas Tuchel also does that. Klopp always does that. It makes sense, no? So actually, even see Jeff is saying, right? Change the cap, then adjustment will change, possibly, mas mabilis, right? Then how, saying na we're playing around each other, now it's focusing on him too much. So, Julio, last word on this before I wanted to, take it to our next topic. Is it the system? Lack of system? Is too much trust with the players, right?
It's a bit of a mix. In support of what Kent said, he mentioned two keywords there, right? Tactical malleability, which at this point in time, Ole is currently not opting to do. It's becoming more and more of sabihin na natin tactical preference. You see, if we're gonna go back to a couple of seasons ago, if I'm not mistaken, at the time na nung nag-resume na yung Premier League, nung kainitan na pandemic last year, I think there's been a bit of a sense of an identity now on how they should play as a team. And there's this one particular selection na pinipili na si Oli sa squad. With the continuous growth na ng iba mga players tulad nila Mason Greenwood, yung labas-pasok na sa squad ni Anthony Martial, Oli had to change a few things lang naman. Pero in essence, parang wala namang masyado na bago doon sa squad. He pretty much decided to stick himself with these specific players lang dito sa team na to with little changes lang made. I mean, he's been buying players naman so on and so forth. It really worked naman din to a team, especially in bigger games. Kaya lang, as far as I could observe on how Ole plays his players, he trusts just a limited number of players lang to perform whatever he's asking them to do, which is parang naglalaro pa rin siya sa hindi siya exactly 4-2-3-1 eh. Medyo merong essence of malleability doon pero it still sticks pa rin as 4-2-3-1. Kumbaga, na iisa lang yung spearhead. Ang kaibahan lang kasi at the start of the season kasi, which is personally I was hoping na sana may tuloy-tuloy niya pero it hasn't happened yet. Maybe because si Ronaldo kasi ang nasa tuktok kumbaga ng formation, but because there's been a bit of an addition to the team's fluidity kumbaga in terms of yung passing nila. Kung makaka-track back tayo sa mga pass games, si Mason Greenwood, he started to learn how to dovetail na kumbaga in the middle kahit nilalagay siya sa right. And it's only possible if all of them forwards, kahit nag-iisa lang yung forward up top, kaya nila mag-dovetail or kaya nila mag-switch sa isa't isa regardless kung saan sila possession. Maybe that explains kung bakit si Jadon Sancho habang hinihintay gumaling sa Marcus Rashford, parati siya nilalagay at the start on the left kasi in game pwede naman sila mag-switch hanggat maaari kumbaga. Kaya lang with the sudden arrival of Cristiano, sorry man, I think nagkaroon ng konting problem dun sa kung ano man ang system na pinapag-deploy ni Oli sa kanila kasi for one, hindi na gano'n ka-mobile si Cristiano kasi to do it eh. Maybe he can kung kaya pa talaga ng legs niya given yung physicality niya. But then again, yung physicality kasi niyon can only do you so much if you're not that fast enough to execute those kinds of plays eh. Kumbaga, in order for Oli to become malleable eh. And of course, he has to deal with sabihin na nating player power, I guess, kung bakit nagsastart pa rin yung mga katulad ni Harry Maguire. Not just because he's captain, not just because because of his price tag. He also has these other roles kasi as captain. Kung ang pag-uusapan lang kasi natin dito kasi, sorry kung medyo matatransition na tayo. Kung ang pag-uusapan lang kasi natin dito, per se, yung captaincy role in-game, madali magpalit. Kung gugustuhin ni Oli. Nandiyan naman si Bruno. Nandiyan naman si Cristiano. In some games, kapag hindi available yung dalawa, pwede naman si David De Gea. If he really wants it, nandiyan naman si Marcus Rashford. So there are options. Kung in-game Pero ang captaincy kasi, it goes beyond the pitch kasi. So there's the reason kung bakit si Harry Maguire kasi was installed as captain, not just because he has these leadership skills, regardless of yung nakaraan niya with Hull City, na naranasan niya na ma-relegate na, kumbaga, he hasn't won anything. Natalo pa siya before when facing Pogba and Lingard during his younger years. So he really never had that experience. So maybe may choking factor pa siya siguro na he needs to address pa. And outside the pitch kasi he's always present in these United Foundation activities kasi compared with the other players. Maliban kay Juan Mata, which is, of course, he's barely playing. So there's no point of giving him the captain's harband in game kung hindi naman siya parati naglalaro. So there's these things kasi that you have to make considerations eh. So siguro naiisip din kasi ni Oli yun. So it's not exactly a dilemma. I mean, kung pwede niya bigay kay Bruno, din bakit hindi? Kung madadaan naman sa pakiusapan, din bakit hindi? But until then, seniority wins this one particular race in terms of captaincy and Maguire will still wear that armband. Up until such time na touchwood, sudden change of management na naman din, baka mapunta sa iba yung armband. Otherwise, Harry will remain as captain. Not just because of what he's doing on the pitch, but off it, which he's performing admirably. If some of us masigasig magbasa ng club updates, yun ang makikita mo yun. As in, he's ever present, whether injured siya o hindi. So going back dun sa setup ni Oli, I think it's I think yung presence kasi ni Ronaldo should not have hampered kung meron lang siya naiisip na ibang tactics that could help the team change certain things a bit. But as things stand, medyo time is running out for him. And he has to come up with something fast. Especially ang makakaharap niya ngayon, ang isang napaka-malleable na team in Atalanta. So, I really wish him all the luck that he needs. Kasi they really need to win this game. Otherwise, delikado ulit ang estado nila sa Champions League. Ano lang baka tawid lang ng round of 16, medyo mukhang delikado na as it stands in terms of yung round of games. So, good luck, Oli. Pero yeah, I think there will be a light at the end of the tunnel in this, but not in the immediate next few round of games. It will be painful though, pero we'll see. There might be some changes. We'll never know.
Okay. Thanks, Julio. Before we go on, no, wanted to shout out to Ardel. Jay, magandang gabi, pare. Meron din tayong Edric, kumusta? May shout out dyan na nangyayari. Hello. And I think Amir, who says na he throws his hat into the ring. DDG daw for captain. I think it makes perfect sense. I think parang tama si Julio kanina. It's a mix. Favorites, not much system. If I can borrow siguro what Kent said a while ago na instead of, was it Kent or Carl, na parang Ronaldo was a buy na sana ginamit sa midfield, no? And kaya ngayon it's either, ito, sabi ni Kevin, no? Should have spent that Ronaldo money. Knowing the Glazers and reading the news then, it was more of a Ronaldo buy than no one entering. That's what I heard, but I agree. So all boils down to maybe, and it's always been said, and going on rounds, how we find the balance. I actually just wanted to share because our friends from the Athletic. Wow, what a sponsored! our friends from the Athletic. I don't know if you guys saw this. No, ang ganda kasi, and I really liked it. No forward has made fewer pressures than Ronaldo. And you can see it pinaka down below. Right? And 2.7 pressures per game, if I'm not mistaken. Pressures per 90 minutes. Right? While the next one is almost twice the presses. Right? Then, I don't know if you guys saw this. I like kasi watching YouTube right after, even if I try to shut it down. Pero kung makikita nyo yung pressed sequences, we had the highest, interestingly, during the Everton game, 21 press sequences. That was the time that, by the way, a certain Ronaldo and Pogba were dropped. The Wolves game, who were our last opponents before the Ronaldo signing, we had the second highest. But Newcastle 16, 14, where West Ham then down to 9. So, I mean, I think it's very clear, no? And it starts from the top, our system, no? But so balance, finding that right balance. I've heard from the media, frenzy, that Ole knew that going in signing Ronaldo, he doesn't expect them to press, right? So do we find balance within Ronaldo? We find balance by dropping him, right? Siguro how you become Mick McPhelan McPhelan for a session, no? Training ground. And we discuss, Ole, okay, this is how you find balance, no? Carl, anong sasabihin mo kay Ole? How do we find the right balance?
I think he has to put the right players with Ronaldo. Kasi I think the return of Rashford really helps a lot. Kasi masipag siya. He tracks back. He helps Luke Shaw. He helps press up top. Then maybe drop Greenwood muna talaga. Sancho. Since he played for Dortmund, he knows how to press. Sila yung support kay Ronaldo mag-press kasi we know Ronaldo isn't going to press as hard. So yung dalawang bata yung paghahabulin mo, then if they could steal the ball, pass it to Ronaldo. Kaso ang maging problem natin dyan is yung kay Pogba because he isn't really masipag. Kahit sa France, yung mga kasama niya sa midfield yung gumagawa ng paraan sila Tchouaméni tsaka si Kante. So, we have really no choice. If we want to have that, we could drop Pogba. So, then maybe say goodbye to him by January. Kasi no matter how you hate it, McFred is our most industrious midfield. So, if may Ronaldo, kailangan talaga mas stable yung base. And we don't have that with Matic. Matic is old. McFred lang talaga yung option doon. Then Pogba and Van de Beek. Unknown quantities eh. So, yun lang talaga. They have to build around him. I think sinabi ni Gary Neville na parang dun sa mga teams nila dati, they had the hardworking players then. Then dati with Ronaldo, the first stint Ronaldo, there was Park Ji-sung, Tevez, Rooney, all workers. Kasi dati pang hindi tamad si Ronaldo talaga mag-press. So, we have to build around him. Kasi hindi natin siya expect na magbago. Lalo na he's 36. He has to maintain his fitness for the important parts, which is scoring goals. Doon siya magaling eh.
Thanks for that. So Carl says, do not drop Ronaldo. You play Sancho and Rash on his sides. If I'm not mistaken, Bruno McFred, right, is your base. So that's a 4-3-1. 3 na. Drop Pogba, right? So it's McFred, then Bruno. Wow, okay. Huge call on Pogba, but you want to stay with Cristiano. Julio, how about you? How do we, I mean, do you agree? Neville says 2 daw. Narrow 4-4-2. Cavani and Ronaldo daw para may pressing si Cavani. What do you say to that? Or what's your idea for balance? Is Gary Neville already, you know,
Oh my God.
medyo malayo na. What do you think?
Tatakot na ako. Sorry. Oh my God. At least meron kasi sure ball na runner with Cavani. Kaya lang, given the legs kasi that they have at this point in time, mas kailanganan mo na sila pagdating na ng brutal Christmas season eh. Pagdating na ng December eh. Maybe dun sila magiging effective eh. Or towards the end of the season. Kung lumalaban pa for titles ang Man United by then. At this point in time, I'm not really much of a fan of Paul Pogba, pero I do see his qualities. There are certain advantages that sa laro niya kasi that he has. But just like during his Juventus days, he really needs to have a midfielder behind him kasi for him to work. And parang hindi narrow 4-4-2 ang nakikita ko, parang 4-2-2-2. Sorry na. Pero yeah, malaking tulong din na kung si McFred pa rin ng base or at least one of them. Pero preferably Scott McTominay sana at the base. Kung kaya talaga ni McTominay ng legs lang niya talaga tapos palitan sila ni Fred as time goes on. Total, para naman silang hard runners eh. Allowing both Bruno and Pogba to orchestrate. Yun ang nakita ko kasi nung medyo tumagal na yung partnership ng dalawa in the past season or so eh. Nung nagkakaroon na ng understanding yung dalawa eh. Given na as long as may protection yung dalawa sa likod with McTominay, then both of them can orchestrate. Malilesen yung load ni Bruno maghanap ng tao, allowing Pogba to run inside or outside if necessary, since pumapasok sila Rashford sa si Greenwood or si Sancho inside, allowing them to provide all those balls. Primarily ball to feet kasi sila na players yung mga forwards kasi natin eh. Ball to feet, by the way guys, is apparently these are the kind of forwards kasi na instead na hindi sila exactly comfortable receiving the ball either here or here, parating sa paa. If you could, perfect example dyan si Anthony Martial. Hindi talaga siya maasahan sa header kaya madali siya maagawan. But when the ball comes to them at nare-receive nila kaagad at their feet, it's pretty much a game over. It's up to them on how to create. So, most of the forwards kasi na United kasi ganun. Ang exception lang to the rule dyan is of course, the ever reliable Ronaldo and of course Cavani. Kasi si Cavani, he can adjust eh. With all these runs, all these space that he's making eh. And in recent times, si Greenwood, since parang nakikita ko na talaga sa he really knows how to dovetail na talaga. Para si Tevez dati. So, ang sa akin lang, it sounds really chaotic. Pero hindi exactly solid 4-4-2. Pero it's a more of a 4-2-2-2. Wherein, yun nga, they still need to have that base pa rin. Either, well, kung kailangan talaga umuro ni Bruno or ni Pogba for one of the other two to create, then kailangan na talaga nila lumubog. But at least they have that protection with McTominay. And then, kahit sino forward sa buwete mo ibato, with the exception of Jesse Lingard and Anthony Martial, they really has to come from the bench to provide Ole with those alternative options in case na kailangan nila mag-create, kailangan nila makascore ng goals. Otherwise, you can pick Sancho, Rashford, Greenwood, and or Ronaldo in place of Greenwood for that one particular system to work. Yun lang sa akin. Just to bring back that sense of, kumbaga, chaos na malilito na yung opposition defenses na kanino yung bola, sino mag-create, sino yung tatakbo dito, sino yung mag-ghost around, sino magpo-provide sa mga forwards nila. Malilito sila ngayon eh. Kasi kapag, sabihin na natin, for example, kapag Bruno na yung bola, kapag may Pogba ka, meron ng isa pang additional midfielder na pwede mag-create ng space for the others to play around. Kumbaga, kapag kay Pogba naman yung bola, kapag hindi siya naglaro mayaman kasi inconsistent kasi siya then that roles will be reversed. It will create a problem for the opposition defenses kasi Bruno can also run in those spaces. And once na nakuha niya yung bola, ball to feet, pwede na siya mag-create ng chances. Multiple choice na kaagad yun. May balik lang ni Ole yun. Kung magagawa niya ng paraan, bakit hindi? Pero at this point in time, malalaman natin pagdating sa game against Atalanta, a very high pressing team if they can sustain that kung magagawa nila yun. Kasi it's never an easy task facing a high pressing team na end-to-end maglaro. So, yun lang sa akin yun lang nakikita ko doon. Until then, kabahan na tayo lahat.
So basically 4-2-2-2. Okay? Si Carl still goes for the 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. Right? So Julio, dalawa McFred at your base, Pogba, Fernandes, more advanced role, no? Then your two is Ronaldo and Greenwood. Tama yung up top mo. Okay. Shout out daw ulit pala kay Julio Jose G. Lapot. Okay. May buong pangangalan dyan. Ryan is saying, baka naman, no? Our friends from The Athletic. How says, Cavani runs too much to be dropped. So dapat we play when he's healthy, even not scoring. How you support Gary Neville's 4-4-2. Baka. Then Amir says, Pogba is like God tier football. I'm not sure if you're being sarcastic or totoo yan. Sige, Kent, maybe wanted to get your thoughts. 4-2-3-1, stick to the system. Just, pick the players around Ronaldo, Carl. 4-2-2-2, something on a curveball by Julio. How about you? What do you think? How we get that balance? Later pag-usapan natin yung Atalanta, no? But maybe like overall, if we say this is how we play, right? How is the balance going to be driven by Ole?
Sa tingin ko dapat interesting yung mga lineup notes nung nila Julio and ni Carl. I think stick pa rin sa I think it will work kung mag 4-3-3 siguro. We need kaso nga lang ang baga 4-3-3 na inverted, parang gano'n na parang dalawa sa base tapos isa sa harap na advance na mag-feed ng bola. Yun, McFred, para rin siyang 4-2-3-1 pero kailangan lang yung tatlo sa midfield, medyo may nakababa ng kaunti. Kasi ang maganda naman sa McFred, maganda at McFred. Medyo hindi yun. Pero the only thing that siguro Ole considers why kung bakit pinipili niya lagi yung McFred kasi they have the energy . They can cover the distance. Akyat baba sa field, all action, paghabol ng bola. Di mo magkakatiwalaan sa ball retention. Pero magaling sila disrupt ng play ng kalaban. So sa tingin ko talaga there's no other midfield duo that can do that unless we can get a Swiss Army knife defensive midfielder Kung pwede lang sana pabatain natin ng 10 years si Matic, pero hindi na yun pwede. Ang magiging key nga dyan, as per, I agree with what Carl said, na kailangan masipag yung dalawa. Yung, if ever na 4-2, 4-3-3, Ronaldo at the top of that three attackers, kailangan yung nandun sa magkabilang dulo na wingers, kailangan masipag yan. Ito, napansin ko, sa totoo lang, ang pinamaganda ang nilalaro ever since Ronaldo came back, Lingard. Lingard knows how to play with Ronaldo, and he has, parang ewan ko pa kung dahil nakita na sila nung bata pa siya or something, pero there's something in Jesse Lingard na alam niya kung paano lumaro with Ronaldo. Alam niya kung paano yung gagawin, alam niya kung ano ang dapat na, ano yung pwede niyang gawin para mag-complement dun sa sa playing style tsaka sa positioning ni Ronaldo. And I think Rashford also does the same. Yun yung maganda rin kay Rashford, masipag, at the same time very pacey pa rin siya. So I think na it's all about really pagalawin natin lahat ng nasa midfield and attack para para hindi masyadong mag-rely kay Ronaldo, not making him do strenuous physical things that will take a toll on his stamina. Alam ko, para napag-usapan na natin yan before nung bumalik si Ronaldo, yung Viva Ronaldo episode, how do we fit Ronaldo? And yun talaga, factor yung yung pace niya in this age, di na talaga ganun ka-optimal. So you need really to do na parang kung hanggat maaari ihatid natin yung bola kay Ronaldo para hindi na siya masyadong tumakbo. Kasi si Ronaldo yung tipo ng tao na he might have lost the pace or the physical attributes. Pero once na ihatid mo you set a good cross, proper delivery, or a very good through pass with with a very good spin on it, he will always deliver. Yun ang kay Ronaldo. And siguro schedule management. Siguro may nagsabi sa comment si Jao kanina, kailangan mas ilaro si Cavani. Maybe not alongside Ronaldo, but I guess there are a lot of more games that Ronaldo should sit out. I mean, siguro may mga ibang di mag-agree sa akin, pero look at as a I'd like to compare Messi with PSG right now. Talagang yung management nila kay Messi medyo maayos-ayos. I mean, we can minimize siguro yung onti kay Ronaldo para hindi masyadong mag-take ng hit sa yung style of play bago siya dumating. I think we should manage Ronaldo a little bit well. Yung bawasan ng kaunti yung mga nilalaro niya. For his own good din naman. Pero if Oli doesn't really want to drop Ronaldo, well, you have to make everyone beside him run and work hard to get the balls and deliver it. To get the possession, get good field position, and deliver the chances to him. Yun lang.
Okay. Gusto ko yung nasabi mo, no? So the system, Ken, is then still Ronaldo in. Right? Tama.
So na 4-3-3.
43. Your top three is Rashi, Lingard, and Ronaldo.
Ronaldo, yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow, Lingard back. All right, West Ham days. Then your midfield three is, of course, Bruno is one.
So, sabi ako kay Carl, McFred. I drop Pogba.
McFred talaga.
Wow. All right. Nice. Comments time. So Dan, hi Dan. Thanks for joining. Dati na-underestimate pa ang Carrick Fletcher midfield, tapos ngayon. Right? Ano na daw? I mean, if you think about it, Fletcher is more of the Ander Herrera style, no? Like, talagang all energy, while Carrick is the deep-lying midfield. Yeah, we definitely need that. May nagsabi dito si Jeff, bakit? Bakit tinawakan yung ulo? Yeah. And as
May bus-bus.
Amir, si Amir daw FFF Pogba,
Yung sa
not
France,
normal
yung French
Pogba.
version.
France, yeah.
Yung kapag France, sobrang galing kasi ni
Yes,
Pogba
the
eh.
France. Or here, there was a house saying Cavani CDM. Okay, very interesting. I don't think we will see that very much. And so, I mean, for me, man, I think Ole's reign will be decided definitely on how he, manages Ronaldo. Not because Ronaldo is a certain personality, but because of just how much adjustment he has in our system. So I agree with Ken. So, sige. Thursday morning here in the Philippines. So that's dalawang tulog na lang Atalanta, and we know that Atalanta plays at 3-5-2 if I'm not, or 3-4-3. 3-4-3. They play a 3-4-3. And well, that means they're wingers, then they have a solid base, narrow. Julio, how would you line up and score prediction tayo for Thursday
Okay.
AM?
Andun na pala tayo kaagad, no? Kasi I wanted to share a bit of input on how Atalanta plays kasi recently. But anyway,
yes, please,
before that,
go ahead.
okay, all right, thank you. Kasi with the recent additions kasi that they had, kasi they no longer have, of course, Amad Diallo kasi he's with United now. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, they have yung isa sa mga ini-endorse before ni Cap ni Gary Navida na player before si Tuan Cope Miners. He's now with them. So sobrang solid na midfield na nila. Solid na before, mas solid pa ngayon. They also have this ex-Chelsea player called Davide Zappacosta who's really doing well whichever system Gianpiero Gasperini is deploying them, which is either 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. Kasi kailangan talaga parati may wing backs eh. Basta kapag ang coach si Gasperini, it's always 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. Now, things to watch out for. If Joseph Ilicic, yung sole striker nila up top, if he's going to play, the defense will have to keep an eye on him really well. Kasi even if machoke ng United midfield sila Tion Cope Miners at itong isa sa mga kumbaga mga ninjas nila sa midfield si Martin de Roon, who's also playing for the Netherlands. Kahit machoke nila yung one or two of their midfielders, yan si Ilicic mahilig mag-drop yan. Nag-aala Bruno din yan. He also knows how to create. Kasi that's how, yun yung requirement kasi for 3-4-2 to work dapat yung forwards mo marunong din mag-drop kumbaga for the others to play around him. They have to keep an eye on him really well. They have to. Otherwise, Ilicic will just keep on ghosting between and behind the defenders, regardless of kung sino yung defenders na mapipili ni Oli, whether it's Lindelof Maguire or Bailey Maguire, which is super high risk. Sayang wala si Varane. So medyo selection dilemma ulit for Oli sa midfield as to who will provide the better protection. But with Fred back, then there's a possibility, but they really need to keep an eye on him. Now, since na-mention ko na din yung midfield nila. Now, it's very vital kasi for opposition players kasi every time they're facing a team like Atalanta kasi since very high pricing team sila is to keep an eye on their midfielders. Kasi halos lahat ng mga midfielders nila, I think there's 3 of them. I forgot the name of the other guy. Pero yung dalawa na yon, si Tion Cope Miners, tsaka si Martin de Roon, they really know how to play ball. As in, it's just like looking at, if some of you guys are familiar with Kevin Strootman, who used to play for AS Roma, isa sa mga linchmates ni Louis van Gaal when he was still during his second spell with the Netherlands. Ganun sila maglaro. They know how to defend para si Carrick, and they know how to pick a pass para si Carrick. Pero instead of yung sinasabi nila parati kay Carrick na puro sideways, these guys just doesn't play sideways ball. They really know how to play. Parang it's as good as parang binigyan mo ng konting muscle si Bruno and then pinaglaro mo siya central midfield a la Roy Keane. But yeah, they can really rake in those passes. So they really have to choke the life of those guys. They fail to do that. Good luck sa United. I wasn't able to check. United ang visiting team, no? Sila yung pupunta ng Bergamo. Tama ba, Gab? Sila, no?
Yes, correct. Sila.
Proud factor. Sorry. Oh my God. Isa sa mga pinaka-hostile na environment sa Bergamo kasi. Home ba United? My God.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
Liverpool and City ata yung away tayo.
Away,
if
no?
I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
I think
Ah,
United will get makakabawi United
ah,
at least one or two of those games. Pero for this game against Atalanta, it will be a good test. Since yun nga, thank you, Kent, na mention yun na home crowd ng United. It's a good test in terms of facing a team like that, kumbaga. Kasi Atalanta are also known for having these medyo so and so record din kasi away from the stadium din kasi. Pero yun nga it's one of those three things na naisip ko. Their defense is okay. They have Robin Gosens, a German midfielder who's very reliable din. Pero for me, if you're going to face Atalanta, you really have to keep an eye on those players na mention ko. If they fail to do that, we'll be in for a very long night. Naku, lalo din naalala ko paano maglaro si Martin Daron. Good luck. Now, for the predictions, I'm trying to be brave enough on this one. 2-0 United to. Makuha lang nila ng tama na machok nila yung laro ng Atalanta from the middle. United can really act out a really good win out of this one. Pero it will be a very hard-fought one. Sin talagang magandang laban to sa gitna if they're really up for it. Ang advantage ng United dito is, well, whether McFred ang maglalaro na sabay or one of the two, it's fine. But with the experience of the likes of Ronaldo and Pogba, since nakapaglaro sila sa Serie A, alam nila on how to play around with those systems. So that's the advantage there. But that will fall on Ole's lap on how will he be able to make those players and the whole team play as supposed to be na as against sa nangyari the past few games na parang pagkatapos makascore na isang goal or makabisa na chances, medyo clueless na kumbaga. Pero makuha nila ng tama yun against a very high pressing team. Pero it will be a very hard-fought game as in, I'm expecting a battle, lalo na sa gitna. For those na medyo mahilig manood sa gitna, kumbaga, it will be a very interesting thing. Otherwise, good luck sa United talaga against Atalanta. I'll be expecting a really hard battle sa gitna. 2-0 for United on this one.
And your lineup, Julio?
De Gea, Shaw, Juan Bissaka, Lindelof, and yeah, of course, the captain has to play. Alas na lang, if he declares himself unfit ulit, then that's Bailly. Otherwise, it's the captain who plays. As for the
Kala ko
midfield,
Bruno yung sasabihin mo.
if only he's taller.
Okay.
Midfield ko, since I really want to mark Martin Drone out of the game, it has to be McFred. And then Bruno and Pogba. And then the wings, it has to be Sancho. Let's take a risk. Paglaruin na natin si Rashford dito sa game na to and Ronaldo. As for the subs though, I would like to make a wild guess as to whoever will come on. Ako, I'm hoping Lingard will play. Kasi na-mention ni Ken tsaka ni Carlo how important Lingard is to the team in terms of trying to find Ronaldo. It will be key, kumbaga. Kasi medyo may pagka-pressure resistant din kasi si Lingard when it comes to crunch time, kumbaga. So, importante yun. And he likes to run around defenders din kasi na masyado mag-high press. So, that's also an advantage. Mabilis din mag-isip si Lingard if he's given the opportunity. Another player na, everyone is definitely hoping for this. Tony Van de Beek. Because he knows how to unlock teams din that does high presses din. Well, dun siya galing sa Eredivisie. So, most of the teams kasi there also plays like that. So, if he's given the chance, then yeah, we'll be in for a treat. If he gets the chance to play. Who else pa ba? Yeah, Greenwood din. If he doesn't start, then hopefully he can definitely provide some chances, cause some trouble din sa defense nila. So on and so forth. Pero that's definitely my starting 11. Yun lang talaga. Kung ano lang, hanapin ko na yung mga kasari namin dito sa bahay. I'm really praying for a really good result kasi facing Atalanta is not really easy. Oh yeah, thank you. Pray na tayo. Midfield battle, overload.
Thanks for that. Actually, Julio gave us a very good preview, on what to expect with Atalanta. So, Carl, maybe I just ask you your lineup. How would you line up given it's a midweek fixture? And we know Liverpool is next. Then what's your score prediction?
Siguro more of the same din sa akin. Ang ko lang dun is maybe we can have Bailly kasi I'm really afraid of their forwards Si Sabata, Ilicic. Pag nag-swap sila, magaling mag-sub si Gasperin and they don't hold back. So we really need pace, lalo na wala si Varane. So at least I expect at least Bayi. Kung wala, we're gonna be toast sa counter attacks. Then I agree with McFred. Then talaga base, lalo na we need to at least absorb the pressure kasi magiging ano yun, baka paglaruan lang tayo niyan parang Leicester. So we need to be solid in the middle. Then really need to unleash Sancho and Rashford talaga so that we could have quick counter attacks. Tapos Ronaldo, you can't leave him out unless he's unfit. Then maybe we could go for a high scoring maybe 4-3 win, something like that. I'll be happy with that.
So the way to win is to outscore your opponents. Okay. Sige. Spoken like a Greg Popovich. Sorry, capturing another, borrowing another basketball reference. Kept. So Julio 2-0, Carl 4-3, right? McFred pa rin, I think is what I hear, but Carl will pick Bayi over Lindelof. How about you? You're on mute, brother.
First of all,
Yeah.
maghanda na ang depensa ng United kasi gaya ng sinabi ni Carl, sobrang daming offensive weapons ng Atalanta. You have Duvan Zapata, Malinovsky, Pesina, Ilicic, Pasalic. Lahat yan, pwedeng maglaro. Marunong sila mag-interchange sa front three nila eh. Kumbaga, ano yan eh, kahit sino pwede. And solid yung wing backs nila with Zappacosta and Gosens. Then you have, again, Derun and Coop Miners. Kung wala si Coop Miners, pwedeng si Freuler. Ano eh, it's like, parang makakalaban natin yung isang, kung si Oli, hindi pa niya, parang clueless siya sa sistema niya. Itong makakalaban nating team in Atalanta, they know their system very well. Even in their sleep, probably. So, ito yung magiging malaking test siya. Since high pressing ang Atalanta and they really have a very they play at a very frenetic pace. I say McFred, kailangan McFred. Kailangan natin si Fred to to disrupt the midfield, then siguro Scott kailangan siya yung makatulong ni Bruno or kasi naman si Pogba na mag-akyat ng bola. Because sa tingin ko, since it's a high press, yung Atalanta masipag mag-press, dun pa lang sa likod, medyo bobombahin na yan ng mga sudden on-rushing or waves of pressing. So kailangan nandyan, ang magiging ni Scott dyan, maghatid ng bola. Box to box talaga. And defense I think Bayi should start. Kailangan since medyo aggressive tong attackers ng Atalanta tsaka medyo physical. If lalaro si Luis Muriel at saka si Duvan Zapata, grabe yung mga pangangatawan niyan. Medyo mahirap itulak basta-basta. And Harry Maguire isn't the most reliable guy when it comes to marking. So kailangan nandyan yung si Bayi na talagang mangangatawan, do the necessary clearances, win headers, ganon. Same Wan-Bissaka and Shaw. Then front three, Ronaldo, Rashford, and Lingard. Talagang I stand by my point na kailangan maglaro yung dalawang yon kasi they know how to play with Ronaldo and kaya din nilang i-stretch yung depensa ng Atalanta with their pace. They can also create their own attempts. So kunwari pag nag-breakaway bigla nakita ng nabutasan yung Atalanta, pwede nating pagkatiwalaan yung dalawa na yun na i-stretch nila, umatake kaagad sila. Kahit mahuli si Ronaldo, okay lang because either Rashford and Lingard can create. Early sub siguro, I think Donny has to play din. Especially pag pag yung medyo late sa tingin ko pag napagod ng kaunti yung Atalanta with their pressing, pwedeng Donny has the ability to unlock defenses with just one pass. I think that can be useful. Kailangan lang siguro tawag doon, gumalaw-galaw siya ng kaunti kasi I think ano siya, hindi niya pwedeng i-replace si Bruno or yung main midfield creator. So, he might replace Scott. Pero kailangan hindi siya yung pasa-pasa lang. Kailangan taas-baba din siya maglaro. And Cavani for Ronaldo. Kailangan Cavani is a luxury for us to have. Dapat gamitin natin siya in an important fixture like this. Score prediction, it's gonna be a free-flowing game. 2-1 United. Or a 2-2 draw. Mahirap pero dasal na lang talaga. Alam ko baka di ko na kailanganin ng kape sa araw na yon. Baka yung palang paggising mo ng umaga, puso mo kumakabog-kabog na. Either iiyak ka or tatawa ka. Gotta be ready.
Wow. Okay. So, Bayi, no? Tama. Then Ronaldo, Ronaldo, Rashi, and Lingard. Then McFred and Bruno. So, Pogba in 2 of our lineups will be dropped. Okay? All right. You heard it first.
Unless mag-decide siya tumakbo.
I don't know. Unless he...
Tanungin niya muna si Mino.
So Amir says it's 2-2. Wow, 2-2. With the current table, that will lead us to, I think, just second place. No, because Atalanta has 4 points, if I'm not mistaken. So a win actually gets us to the top of the table. And that's what Lawrence actually predicts, 2-1. So we need this one. And adding to your prayer warriors is Kevin. So apat na kayo, Julio, Kevin, Ryan, and si Kent. So umabot na tayo doon, mag-pray tayo. Hope for me is I want to side with Julio, 2-0, but I think a 3-1 scoring win will happen. Hopefully, the McFred comeback is all that we're waiting for. Grabe, no? So ironic. When everything goes to whatever it is now, we turn back to McFred. Rashi to score. Ronaldo to come off the bench and score. That's my prediction. But anyway, I think that's all the time that we have. Thank you to all the ones who watched and to those who commented. No, we pray and hope that we get to bounce back very well against Atalanta. Magkita-kita tayo Thursday 3 a.m. Tama, no? 3 a.m., right? Walang tulugan. And hopefully, the coffee then will taste better than the coffee back last weekend. So, thank you guys. Thank you everyone for our panelists, Julio, Kent, and Carl. And as Stephen Housen says, we'll see you in the next one. All right. Good night, everyone.